I watched her in white, from a screen smaller than the sacrifices I made for her. My daughter, my only child, glowed with joy as she walked down the aisle. But I wasn't there. I wasn't invited. I wasn't acknowledged. I was just the woman who paid for the flowers, the dress, the venue, and then got shut out of the fairy tale. And still, I didn't cry, not because it didn't hurt, but because I had already cried all my tears in the years that came before. This is the story of how I raised a daughter on love, and how she taught me the meaning of dignity, revenge, and letting go. Flashback 25 years ago, warm, soft lighting, cozy kitchen, mother feeding a toddler. They told me motherhood would be hard, but no one told me it would be lonely. I was 21 when I had Emily, fresh out of a turbulent marriage, standing alone with a newborn and a suitcase full of bills. He left when she was 3 months old, said fatherhood wasn't for him. But I didn't fall apart. I took a night job cleaning offices, and a day shift at the diner. Every scraped knee she had, I kissed. Every fever, I sat through the night. Every birthday, even if the cake was homemade and the gift was thrifted, I made it magical. Because I believed in love, and I believed that when she was older, she would remember. Teenage years strains appear. Emily started changing around 13. She'd roll her eyes when I hugged her, stopped holding my hand in public, started whispering about me to her friends at school, calling me extra. She wanted Abercrombie jeans, new iPhones, salon haircuts, and I tried. Oh God, I tried. I worked triple shifts just to buy her that birthday dress she cried over at the mall. She smiled that day, and for a moment, I thought, she still sees me. But when prom came, she begged her friend's mother to take her dress shopping. I wasn't stylish enough, she said. That night, I went into my room, closed the door, and silently tore up the coupons I had saved for 6 months. College years, blind faith. She got into a good college, out of state. I should have been proud. I was. I sold my mother's antique jewelry to cover her books, took out a small loan in my name, didn't buy a new coat for 3 winters. She'd call every now and then, always short, always in a hurry. And then came a call that changed everything. Mom, I met someone. Introducing the fiancé, Liam. His name was Liam. He was tall, charming, came from a good family, as Emily constantly repeated. They dated for 2 years. I only met him once. That one dinner he kept checking his watch, barely made eye contact, said ma'am like it was a chore. Something in me itched, but I didn't say anything, because Emily was glowing, and if he made her smile like that, I could forgive a lack of manners. The engagement, the ask. It was a rainy Thursday when she called. Mom, he proposed. I could hear champagne clinking in the background. We're planning the wedding for next spring, but we're a little short on budget. And just like that, the story I had been saving my whole life for our mother-daughter moment was about money. Would you be able to help? Just with the deposit. For the venue? I should have paused. I should have asked questions, but I didn't. I drained my savings. Cashed out a retirement fund I was too young to even touch. 4800. That's what I sent over the next 8 months. Dress fittings, cake tasting, venue, floral designer, even her bachelorette in Napa. I didn't ask for recognition, just a seat at the wedding. The disinvite, the silence that screamed 1 month before the wedding. I called her to confirm my travel dates. She hesitated, then said, Liam's parents want a smaller ceremony. It's intimate. We'll send you pictures. Please don't make this about you. About me? I was the silent bank behind her dream, the woman who bled to make her magic real. And now, I was an inconvenience. She never even sent an invitation, not even a text on the day. But I watched it. A live stream linked her. Cousin accidentally forwarded me. I sat in my living room, in the dress I bought for her big day, and watched her walk down the aisle to a man I didn't trust, past rows of smiling strangers, while my name wasn't even whispered. The live stream ended. I sat in silence for a long time. The empty teacup in my hands had gone cold, like the hope I once held for us. There was no phone call, no thank you the next day, no photos mailed, no bouquet preserved for me, only silence. But in that silence, something woke up inside me. Not rage, not tears, not self-pity. It was something much quieter, something sharper. It was clarity. Flashback after the wedding, a week passed. I didn't text, didn't call, didn't send gifts or ask about their honeymoon. But one afternoon, I received an email. Hi Mom, hope you're doing well. Just wondering if you'd be able to help with a few post-wedding expenses. Liam's job hasn't started yet. I read it, then read it again. This time, I didn't reply. Instead, I printed the email, folded it in half, and slid it into a drawer with all the receipts I had carefully saved. Every invoice, every transaction all in my name. They had used me, and now, they were still trying to, but they forgot something. I wasn't just a mother anymore. I was a woman who had nothing left to lose. Soft flashback: the will before my mother passed. She gave me a small wooden box. Inside it was her wedding ring and a legal document, the deed to a cottage in northern Vermont. It wasn't much, but it was paid off. And in her words, "If one day the world turns cold, let this be your shelter." I had never used it, never even visited the cottage. But now, it called to me. I packed up my apartment, left a short note in the mailbox for Emily. "Gone north. Don't worry, the bank won't be open anymore." And I disappeared. Narration: the cottage. Transformation: the cottage was old, dusty, smelled of pine and forgotten laughter. I scrubbed the walls with my hands, painted the porch, planted lavender out front. For months, I didn't speak to anyone. I cooked. I read. I stared out the window and let my soul thaw. I found an old quilt my mother had made, with patches from my childhood clothes. It brought me to tears, not from sadness but from memory. I had lost so much of myself, being mom. Now I was just me again, and it felt powerful. The unraveling: the call from a stranger. It was September when I got the call. "Hello, is this Mrs. Harlow?" A woman's voice, polite, hesitant. "My name is Claire. I'm Liam's aunt." I tensed. "Why are you calling me?" She took a breath. "Because you deserve to know. And because Emily isn't the person you think she is." I sat down. "They've maxed out your cards. Used your information to get a second wedding loan. It's under investigation." My blood ran cold. I opened my laptop, checked my credit report, and there it was, 27,600 in a loan I never authorized, signed with my name, forged. Revenge begins, but not how they expected. Some people scream, some fight. I quietly called a lawyer, a brilliant woman named Monica. 50 seconds. No nonsense, and sharp as glass. She reviewed everything: the unauthorized loan, the receipts, the emails, even the wedding footage where my name wasn't mentioned once. But all payments were mine. She leaned forward and said, "You have a case." I didn't want revenge out of rage. I wanted truth. I wanted accountability. I wanted to reclaim my voice. The confrontation: legal notice. Emily called me 2 days after the papers were served. "Mom, what the hell is this?" Her voice was shaking, not from guilt, from panic. I stayed calm. "It's a lawsuit for identity theft, financial fraud, and emotional damages. You're seriously suing your own daughter?" I smiled, not out of joy, but clarity. "No, Emily, I'm suing the woman who stole from me, lied to me, and left me out of her life after I gave her everything." She burst into tears, said Liam was behind it, said they were desperate, said I was overreacting. I said nothing. Silence is powerful when you've already spoken with actions. Court: the moment of truth. It never went to trial. Once their lawyer saw the receipts and forged documents, they begged for settlement. The judge ordered full repayment over time and an official apology. I didn't care about the money anymore. I cared about the statement that I wasn't invisible, that mothers aren't vending machines, that love is not a blank check. Ending 1 year later. It's been over a year. I still haven't spoken to Emily, but I've heard from Claire, Liam's aunt, who said Emily and Liam have separated. Apparently, he forged her signature, too. And when she looked for support, there was no one left, not even me. And here's the twist. I don't hate her, I pity her, because when you build a life on entitlement, you forget how to stand when the world says no. Last line. Narrator's present reflection. I sit on my porch now, in that quiet cottage by the woods. The lavender sways, the wind is gentle, and in my lap is an invitation, not to a wedding, but to peace, because I funded her dream once. But now, I'm living mine, and this one doesn't cost me my dignity. The air is still this morning. Birdsong filters through the trees. A kettle whistles gently behind me. It's been 2 years, 2 long, silent years since the wedding I wasn't invited to, since the girl I raised as my world walked down an aisle I paved, without ever looking back. But I'm not angry anymore. Anger is heavy, resentment is noisy, but peace. Peace is the softest thing I've ever worn. And today, I do something I should have done a long time ago. Today, I write myself a letter. The letter a mother to herself. Dear me, you've spent your life bending. You bent to pack school lunches at 4 a.m., bent to cover shifts at work. Even when your back screamed, bent to give and give, hoping someone would call it love. But here's what no one told you. There is no medal for martyrdom. There is only exhaustion, and empty bank accounts, and wedding. Live streams you're not part of, but you are not invisible. You were never just a mother. You were a woman who stood in storms so her child could dance in sunlight. You are allowed to breathe now, allowed to bloom without begging, allowed to be loved without conditions, and most importantly, you are allowed to stop chasing apologies from people who owe you more than words. Love, the woman you forgot to be. Narration finding community. I didn't just disappear into a cottage after the dust settled. I did something braver than revenge. I reclaimed myself. I started teaching pottery at the local art center, small classes, mostly older women like me, but we laughed like teenagers. Some of them were divorced, widowed, forgotten. But inside that studio, we were seen. I told them my story once, halfway through shaping a clay bowl. I whispered, I paid for her dream wedding. And she made me watch it online. One of them put down her tool, reached over, and said, then, let's shape your new life in porcelain. Make it too strong to break. An unexpected visitor. Emily returns. It was a gray autumn afternoon when I saw her car, pulled into the driveway like a ghost from a life I'd buried. She looked older, tired, thin. Mom? Her voice cracked. I stepped onto the porch, folded my arms. She cried, real tears this time. Not the kind meant to manipulate, the kind that come when walls collapse. I was wrong. I know it. I lost everything. I stayed quiet. Liam, he cheated. He drained our account. He forged my name too. I thought I was building a life, and it was just quicksand. I looked at her. You made me watch your wedding on a screen. I said it softly. No anger, just memory. She nodded, ashamed. I don't expect anything. I had nowhere left to go. The final choice, a different kind of strength. I could have shut the door, could have turned her away the way she once turned me, but strength is not cruelty, and closure is not revenge. Sometimes, it's simply choosing you over the version of someone who broke you. I let her inside, let her shower, let her sleep on the couch, but I didn't offer more than a roof. The next morning, I made 2 cups of tea, placed one on the table beside her, and said, you will always be my daughter. But I won't mother you through your mess anymore. If you want to heal, you can start here. But don't confuse shelter with surrender. She nodded, didn't speak. That day, she cleaned the kitchen without being asked. That night, she folded the laundry. The next morning, she left quietly, a short note on the table. Thank you for not slamming the door. I'll try to become someone worthy of opening it again. Final reflection. Closure. I don't know if Emily will come back. I don't know if she'll ever repay what she owes financially or emotionally, but I do know this. She saw me, not as a bank, not as an obligation, as a person, and in the end, maybe that's all I ever wanted. Last monologue. Closing lines for video. If you're a mother, a giver, a woman who's been used in the name of love, let this be your sign. You don't have to break to prove you're strong. You don't have to bleed to be worthy, and you don't have to stay silent when they shut you out. Because I funded her dream wedding, and she made me watch it online, but now I fund my own peace, and I don't need an invite to sit at the table of my own life.